4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello, wherever you are in the world. As I always say, one of those will apply to me or to you, to both of us, to everybody. This is LTID TV1 from Leicester Till I Die. It is Thursday night. It's 6 o'clock. It is the prediction show, and thank you for joining us on YouTube. And if you are listening via your favorite podcast platform, thank you for lending us your ears. It is the prediction show. Feel free to join in. Please get your predictions in the chat as we go through it. All I would ask you, if you can please put the game that you're talking about. So, for example, Forest, Brighton, and then put the score afterwards. So I know which game you are referring to, because obviously some predictions overlap. That's great. If you would do that, thank you very much. If you would also be so very, very kind, first of all, I want to say a big, huge thank you. We have finally hit the 4,000 subscribers. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the channel. Not huge numbers, I know, when you compare it to other channels. But when I set this out, 5 seasons ago now? My God, was it that long ago? With Brad. And whenever I watch those first few videos back, I do cringe. But when I set out doing this, excuse me, I never set out to be the biggest. I never set out to be the best. Do it for a bit of fun. That's what it's all about. If we can have a laugh and a joke and enjoy it, my work here is done. Like I say, though, 6 o'clock Thursday, it's the prediction show. Let's get Wayne in. Good evening, Wayne. How the devil are you, sir?
Hi, Chris. I'm very well, thank you. It's surprising what a victory in a silly old football game can do.
Isn't it just? I've actually had a smile on my face this week. I actually watched Match of the Day too.
Did people ask you what's wrong with you if you're smiling after such a long time?
This is true. I mean, I've got to say, I didn't really know what I should do, how I should celebrate, really. But there we go. Let's just say a few hellos, though. LCFC is in. Hi, mate. How you doing? Excuse me. Ray is in. Afternoon, Chris. My prediction is that we don't start a bloody player before the window closes. Can you believe, right? The deadline that is finishing sort of whatever time, 6 to 11, whatever time on Monday night. And I put a post up, as I have been doing for the last couple of days, with the countdown. And I put it up at sort of 11 o'clock this morning, saying that there were 5 days. I was involved in a full-on discussion on Blue Sky as to whether it was 5 or 4 days left. And I said to the guy, I said, God, you must be bored. You know what I mean? To me, because it was like today, which is Thursday, Because at 11 o'clock this morning, we can still sign somebody now. We can still sign somebody at 11 o'clock. So you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 days in my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it is important to some people, though, Chris. That's
This is very true. This is very true. Lynn is in. Hi, Lynn. How are you doing? She says Leicester to win. I'll have some of that. Thank you very much. And John is in as well. Evening all. And they're all on about the signings. I tell you what, good news. And if you're not doing anything tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, join us for the preview show. It'd be interesting to see who Craig puts in his team, whether he sticks with Jakob or does he bring Mads back? What would you do, Wayne?
Yeah, when you see that news, because yesterday they were saying, it was only supposed to be a couple of weeks, and it's been, was it mid-December something it was injured? And you're thinking, oh my God, especially with us losing so many matches. But thank goodness we've had Jakob anyway.
Yes.
Interesting when you hear the news, you think, that is interesting.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm a great believer in no matter how good you are, if whoever's coming in your place is doing well, then you don't automatically walk back into the team. However, sometimes with certain players, you've got to go, like we say, for example, with Jamie Vardy, you've got to sort of say sometimes like, yeah, go on, you're back in. But I just don't know. Will he be risked, do you think? I mean, he said he's well. It's Everton, and I know it is a must-win game, but I don't think Jakob's done anything wrong, really.
No, remember when Nacho did really well and then Vardy came back and he lost his place. Yeah. And there's some fans, and I do think Nacho probably, without Vardy, would have got more of the run in the team. And sometimes you did think, that's a little bit harsh on Nacho. But it is nice to have that problem. That's the bottom line. I mean, the fact that we've got a problem, and Jakob, there is no element of his game that is weak as far as I can see.
No, I've been very, very impressed with him. I'm not going to say Lale, and he is available LCFC according to the press conference anyway. So yeah, I mean, I'm very much maybe let's leave it one more game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be very harsh, and as well, I think he said he's going to be on the bench. Which I think he said he'll at least be on the bench, which I don't think Mads would mind being on the bench. He seems like a real sound guy.
Yeah.
And obviously, they're probably really good friends. Competition's good, but I agree with you, Chris. On merit, he has to have one more game, sure.
Remember the relegation season with the defence? We didn't really have a defence, did we? I can't defend the defence, as they say. But we were bringing players back too soon.
Yeah, and I think that is the danger because it seemed like it was only a little niggle. It got taken off, didn't it? It got taken off.
Yeah, we went off at half time, didn't he? Yeah, nobody knew why. Yeah,
that's what everybody was shocked, thinking, why is it Mads come out for the second half? Yeah, so it seemed quite innocuous, and it took longer. That's my concern, that it took longer than I think the manager thought it was going to take. Yeah. So you've got to be careful.
Yeah. No, I think, as LCFC just said, possibly bring him back for the Man United game, which gives him an extra week. But he's there just in case we need him. Let's be honest, if this was an outfield player, you would probably think nothing of having him sat on the bench and say, right, you come on after 70 minutes. You don't tend to do that with keepers.
No.
But let's be honest with you, we'd be having a very different conversation if it was Ward in goal.
Yeah, definitely. I think the goalkeeper situation, I was thinking when I was working today, that I nearly thought, could you do a 10 reasons to be happy as a Leicester supporter? And I think the goalkeeper situation, we were thinking we'd have to sell Mads. How we're going to cope without Mads, or how would we cope without KDH? And we're all confident we've got a keeper that is premier quality.
Yes,
it's a great position.
Yeah, Armchair Jockey here says window has to be shut before Mads plays. I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of rumours about, he's going to Chelsea this window. I don't think we will sell him this window. I think he will honestly could go in the summer. And we would make a very nice profit on it. Thank you very much. And let's be honest with you, that's what Leicester do. Not normally that quickly. I mean, but we did it with Fofana, we did it with Maguire, we've done it with all these players over the years. Either developed them through the academy or brought them in cheap and sold them for money, big money. That's how we've operated. And I just think, for me, if he was to go, I would be very, very happy with Starlarczyk as our number one and Everson as our number two.
Definitely. And it's like we've been so lucky to, Shilton and Banks, and other great keepers through the 70s and 80s. But, to have three go from Kasper, which, we thought, oh my God, how are we going to replace him? Because he was a captain material as well, wasn't he? And he's just a great great man, actually.
Yeah.
But then
he signed an extension at Celtic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like great players, they might have a bit of a wobble, but he's just quality. Kasper is, it really is quality.
Yes.
And we just look at it. We've got these two people, and it does shows you that with Jakub coming along, there have been lots of criticism over the board, but we have signed for Tarwu. We've got Madzu. I think he's only on about £10,000 a week. But what do we get him for? 5 or 10? Really low.
Yeah.
I mean, if we sell him this summer he's got to be worth 40, 50 million.
Exactly, yeah.
And if one of the bigger, if Man City go for him, you think, well, it could have even pushed to 60. I mean,
everybody's thinking it'll more than likely be Chelsea. But we'll see. We'll be discussing that next week, I'm sure, when we've done the transfer window has finished. But let's have a look at this week's games. Now, this is an interesting table. I brought this up on Monday when I did the weekend review, because you've got match week 23 there, which was the weekend just gone, but it was a rerun of the matches from the first week.
That must be very rare, Chris.
Oh no, because at some point during the season, we will have played that opening week, won't we? Right. Again, and it just happened that this time it's week 23. Now, I think we've played teams that we've already played before, but this was the week where it fell like this. Yeah. Looking, we're going to go through the predictions in a minute. Man United very lucky against Fulham, but they did it twice over Fulham. Liverpool, thank you, Liverpool, doing the favour there for us against Ipswich. Yeah. We appreciate that. Wolves 0, Arsenal 1. They made it hard work, but thankfully, just checking my filing system here, by the way, as everybody says, the bin. And just in case anybody's wondering, where's you been? I've been here all the time.
I watched the show with Craig yesterday, and I think when Craig said you need to, what did he say, self-edit?
Yeah. Wouldn't be as much fun, though. Wouldn't be as much fun. Certainly with the Man United game, everybody got that one wrong. You and me went for 2 and 3-1. Liverpool, we all went for a Liverpool win. Brad was absolutely fuming because he went 4-0. Wolves, Arsenal. Again, we all went for that, but we thought it'd be more of a goal fest. You've got Everton were away at Brighton. Nobody went for that, surprisingly. Let's hope Everton's new manager bounce is over. And would you be surprised if I said to you that nobody got Bournemouth 5, Nottingham Forest 0?
Really?
Really? Yes.
It's such an obvious score.
Just. You and me both went for a Desmond.
Really? Yeah. I mean, the two brilliant teams. I mean, that is... Yeah, I mean, is that just a one-off, or is that a one-off, or is the wheels falling off the bus?
Well, that's the way, isn't it? I mean, Forest, they are just, I say, fair play to them. They're having a great season, and good luck to them. Bournemouth, exactly the same. But I mean, even Brad went 2-0 to Forest. Nobody saw And I tell you, I don't know if you saw the show on Monday, the weekend review. I had my mate Colin, who's a Bournemouth fan. I did the review, and he said, even we weren't expecting that. It's Newcastle did well again for us against Southampton and did the double over them. The 1-1 between Villa and West Ham wasn't the best result for us, but nobody got that. Palace 1, Brentford 2. None of us got that. Although Brad went for a Brentford win. Manchester
Brentford's form. They were like brilliant at home. Then they lost in the cup at home. The winning away. It's
They put 5, was it, past Southampton away, which was their first away win of the season. Anyway, need to have got that out the system now. Man City, Chelsea. We had 3 Desmonds on that one out of the 3 of us. And then, of course, at the bottom there, what can I say? Tottenham 1, Leicester City 2, remaining unbeaten against the not-so-mighty Spurs. The cock has fallen off his ball, as they say. Are you surprised Andrew's still in a job?
Yes, I am. I would imagine he's a very light character, but he does play too open. It's nice when you get a score prediction right and your team wins. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it, Chris?
Yes, it is. Bath time, you cheeky devil. It looks like you've lost a bit of weight. No, I haven't, actually. It's just the camera. You know what they say, like the camera takes a couple of inches off you. It takes a few pounds off you as well. I wish I had. I can't. I no way is my lifestyle suitable for losing weight. And says, for fuck's sake, the jokes don't get any better. Why you love coming on, Ant? It's why you love coming on. I went 4-0 as well. Ancelotti did say Everton win. You did, in fairness. Yeah. And well done to you, because obviously you're an Everton fan there. 4 points from the not-so-mighty Tottenham. I'm surprised Anne still has a job, to be honest with you. Especially as he came out at the start of the season saying, I always win something in my second seasons.
And like LCFC forever said, especially the injuries. But, I mean, look at Bournemouth. My goodness me.
Yeah.
I think they got what team did they beat? Oh, yeah, Forest, that's right. They've got so many injuries. I think they had one other senior player on the bench and they got all the young kids out.
Well, they beat was it Newcastle when they were?
That's right, yeah.
Tottenham have got 10 injuries. Bournemouth have got 9. And I'm sorry, if you are a club pertaining to be one of the big 6, having injuries should be no excuse.
Yeah, Tottenham should have 25 players of mid-table to high players on their roster, basically.
Yeah, exactly. They put out 8 on the bench against us. 5 of those were teenagers. Does anybody cry over that? Do they fuck? Leicester versus Spurs, the very resistible voice, of course, meets the very movable object. Newcastle 4-1 away at St James. Yeah, exactly. And that's what Bournemouth did. Right. It's time for the table. Let's have a look, shall we, how we're doing. Now, I have to say, everybody, don't forget, Wayne joined us late and he took over Luke's points, and Luke hadn't posted for about 3 or 4 weeks. So although Wayne is bottom, it's very much sort of a little star next to his name, because he's I say he's not as bad as Luke was, but yes, 6 points last week. Some of us got 8. Just saying.
You know what, Chris? I knew it was coming. I was just waiting for the penny.
I don't have much to celebrate in my life.
I'm surprised you didn't ask for a drum roll before you.
I have got the drum roll sound effect. I forgot to use it. But here we go. So, yeah, in fairness to Wayne there, please, like I say, although having said that, you are catching Brad up. Brad is in 14th. Jeff is in 15th, but Jeff was in hospital again for 3 or 4 weeks. So, when I was in Australia and I had to predict 4 weeks in advance, Brad didn't give me any leeway whatsoever. So I'm giving Brad no leeway. All this sort of, can I just say, Ange is the Ange Postecoglou of this prediction league, because he started the season going 2 times unbeaten Premier League prediction champion.
Right, there you go. Well, Brad obviously is very competitive, isn't he? Took every advantage possible, yeah.
I'm sorry as well, by the way, but my neck hurts keeping looking down at the table at him.
Hey, you've got it. If you can't rub salt into a wound, Chris, what's the point of life?
Exactly. And as anybody likes to cover themselves when they're talking football and they say anything horrible, only banter.
Yeah, definitely. But we play fancy football with the football lads. Play football on Sunday, and you can always tell the ones that have done well. They start talking about it straight away, giving it all that. Yeah,
I would never do that. Yes. Can I just say a big shout out to Spencer and to Nate? Spencer, I think, got 13 points this week.
Wow.
I know. And yet he still can't catch Nate up. So I see Nate's in America, and I am sure it's something to do with the time difference. I'm sure. Although I said that, I suppose technically you'd have thought Luke would have done better because they're ahead, so they would know the result. But well done to those two. And our Craig still flying the flag for LTID up there in third. I'm just glad I am on the left-hand side still, But
it's very close, isn't it, really?
It is. It is. I'm slowly pulling away from Kate. I've suddenly got a run of getting some scores right, which is unbelievable. And I'm catching Doug up, but he just won't let me. He teases me. He teases me. Yeah, lets me get a few points, and then he'll suddenly have a good week and scoot off. But
that's what you get for pinning the tail in the donkey, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, exactly. Right. This week's games. Here we go. So on Saturday morning, it is Forest against Brighton. The 3 o'clock kickoffs, you've got Bournemouth, Liverpool, which should be interesting. Everton, Leicester, of course. Ipswich, Southampton. That is going to be a very interesting game. Newcastle, Fulham, Wolves, Villa, Brentford, Spurs, Man United at home to Crystal Palace. Arsenal hosting Manchester City. Monday night, we've got Chelsea versus West Ham. And then I have put, and I wasn't shouting at anybody. I think Brad, problem is, as you can see, when I do my graphics here, most things are in capitals. So if somebody messaged me while I'm doing those and I message them back, most of the time it's in capitals without even thinking. And everybody thinks I'm shouting because obviously it's in capitals. I did put a thing in that if anybody, and I'll just say this again now, there is a game also on Wednesday night, which is Everton versus Liverpool, which was the abandoned game from earlier on in the season. We will need that one in by the close of play. Anybody that's putting it in the prediction league, I'll need that in with this week. So a lot of people have already put these predictions in, but haven't included that. What I'm saying to everybody is if you need to get that in before the deadline for these matches, otherwise you get 0 points. But when I say 0 points, I don't mean 0 points for the whole week, which is what Brad thought, or maybe Brad hoped. I might give him a chance to climb the table. I just mean 0 points for that one game because we haven't got a prediction for it. Hope that's cleared it up. And then Liverpool will lose the league at Goodison Park again. That's a brave thing to say. 6 points off the top 4. Who is 6 points off the top 4? Is that me? 142.
Bournemouth, is it? Not Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Could be Bournemouth, yeah. See, it's all about me. It should be all about me. That's what I'm thinking. Right, here we go then. Let's get into these games. So like we did before, and guys, like I say, please feel free to get your predictions in. But if you can write down which match you're talking to, that would help me. So, Nottingham Forest hosting Brighton. Brighton have gone off the boil a little bit, haven't they, Wayne?
Yeah, they have. It's really strange because he's really sort of lauded as a great manager. But they've sort of drawn a lot. They've only won 2 of the last 6. They've drawn a lot, but I think they've been close in the game. They've been in every game. And it's like in the Premier, they've missed a few really good chances, and the game's just got away with them. They've been in all the games, and the competitive, good technical side, great manager. Interesting playing
well,
Forest.
Yeah, I mean, Forest are in 3rd, Brighton are in 9th. Forest obviously lost to Bournemouth, as we've just said. They beat Southampton, but struggled there, 3-0 up at one time, and then came back and were hanging on at the end. They drew with Liverpool, which was a good point for them. They beat Wolves, and they beat Everton. Everton, meanwhile, Brighton, I should say, lost to Everton. They managed a good draw, though, with Man United. They beat Ipswich 2-0. They drew with Arsenal, and they drew with Villa. There's a lot of clubs out there that have started well, like the Villas, like the Fulhams, the Brightons, and teams like that, that started well, but like I say, have kind of just sort of dropped a little bit. You know what I mean? Brentford's another one. You were looking at possibly, you know, and on current form on the last 5 games, and we're going for 5 games because we've got 5 games there. We are looking at Bournemouth are in 4th place, and Brighton are in 9th. So Brad's gone for 1-1.
Right.
What do you fancy with this one?
Yeah, I think Brighton. There's a lot of teams. You look at the points. I mean, interesting. Forest. They've only got a +6 goal difference. Stands out big time between all the. I mean, Bournemouth have got 15+, and everybody else above has got 15+ or more. So they really are. It sounds like Forest always have quite tight games. And I think this one will be another tight game. I think Brighton, they've been misfiring. I think they've been missing quite a few chances. Mitoma had a really good chance, got into the box, missed it. And I think that's just the difference really with Brighton. I think they're playing really well. So I'd say Forest to win this 2-1. What you got on, Chris?
Excuse me for laughing now, not laughing because you've gone 2-1 at all. I've actually agreed with you at 2-1. But just look at the comments here. And Tommy has gone 2-1.
Right.
LCFC Forever has gone 2-1. John has gone 2-1. Agent Angelotti has gone Brighton to win, though. But he's gone 2-1 again. We've all gone 2-1 in one form or another. What's
that saying, Chris? What's that saying? Is it great minds think alike and fools never differ?
One of those, probably. I'm not sure which. But yeah, I've agreed with you 2-1. I think it will be tight, but I can't. Forest are just so good at home. That's the thing.
I think Bournemouth, they just hit a Bournemouth side that really are probably one of the top sides of the Prem in form recently.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a one-off, really.
Well, you mentioned Bournemouth's form. They are in 4th in the form table at the moment, based on the last 5. And here they are hosting Liverpool. And fair play to them. They are on. I'd love to see Bournemouth in Europe in some form. It would be great for them. But Liverpool, top of the league. I honestly think it's theirs to lose now. Man City are coming back. Chelsea, in fairness, Enzo said we're never going to win the league this year. and I think he's probably going to be right now. Arsenal, look, they're just being Arsenal, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? It's like somebody getting up to the edge of the cliff and going, nope, that's a little bit too close. They're moving back away again for Arsenal. But look, Bournemouth beat Forest 5-0, beat Newcastle 4-0, drew with Chelsea, beat Everton 1-0, and drew with Fulham with the Desmond. Liverpool beat Ipswich 4-1, which you got to say is probably not unexpected. They beat Brentford 2-0, drew with Forest 1-1, drew with Man United 2-2. But that's a bit of a strange game because Man United always turn up for that game, no matter how bad they're doing. And of course, they put 5 past West Ham, which I think was the one that saw the end of Floppy Doppy. So form table, like I say, Bournemouth are there in 4th. Liverpool are actually in 3rd, but they've both got a points per game of 2.2. It's a brave man that goes against Liverpool at the moment.
I thought you were going to give your scores first, Chris. Yeah.
No. What's a brave man that goes against Liverpool? I would also say you could probably say stupid man because Brad's gone 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Hey, I do like how Brad goes off piste at least once a week.
I think he goes to the one day I'm going to hit the nail right on the head and get extra points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what are the odds of the score Spurs and Leicester score he predicted?
Yeah.
We got
that. He didn't. That was the one he didn't go mad and went 5 Spurs.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth, I did originally think this would be 2-2, Desmond, just because Bournemouth playing so well, but then the last 2 times they've played, Liverpool have beat them. Yeah, I just think it would be a bit too much for Bournemouth. And they are literally 1 point. They're 1 point off Man City. Bournemouth are with 2. Man City got 17 goal difference. They've got 15. They're such a brilliant side. I think they might get into Europe. And like a lot of people, I'd love to see them do it. But I just think Liverpool will edge this 3-2 just because Liverpool, I mean, when Salah's not scoring, they bring on a sub who gets 2 goals. They've just got goals throughout the side. And Arne Slot I think he's probably the best manager in the Premier at the minute, maybe. So, yeah, Liverpool 3-2.
It's interesting because Arne Slot has taken Klopp's team and really hasn't really added to it. Nobody in January, only I think 1 signing, possibly 2 maximum in the summer. It's virtually used, those that team. It's at Bournemouth, which is, everybody that knows it's a very, very small ground. Not the most intimidating of grounds. It's not like playing at Millwall or anything like that. I really am torn here whether it's going to be a draw or do I go for a draw because it's at Bournemouth? And look, when you look at those results that Bournemouth have been getting, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, with Chelsea. Oh,
they're not just on a good run with the middle or lower ranked teams. Good run.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is probably the hardest game to predict.
We need the countdown timer sound, Christian.
I can't decide between a 1-1 or a 1-2. Oh. Look, I'm going to stick with my original. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I'm going to stick with my original because you watch, if it's 2-1 now, we're not doing this show ever again. I just think Bournemouth they are the surprise package. You know, everybody said about Forest, but to me, I think Bournemouth are just as much as a surprise package. So I'm going to stick with my original thought, which was a draw. LCFC Forever has gone for a Desmond. Tommy's gone for a Desmond as well. Agent has gone 2-4 to Liverpool, which is very brave of him saying that he hates Liverpool. And John has gone for my second choice, which was 2-1 to Liverpool as well. Now then, probably the biggest game of the weekend. Everton hosting Leicester City. Everything that we achieved on Saturday will mean nothing if we don't go and get something here, won't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, Everton are, I would say, currently, with the last 2 wins, better than Spurs were on Saturday. Because Spurs, I mean, their forwards, midfield, breaking from midfield, and the forwards can score 4 or 5 goals a game. The defence is absolutely woeful. They leave massive gaps down the side, in the back. They just leak loads of goals, basically. Very difficult, that is. I mean, the one thing I would say is that I think Rude is a really good manager, and I think, you know, tactically he will be thinking about Everton, how to break them down, because they're resolute, aren't they, Everton? Very well organised. I'm
just wondering if, look, they've had the last 2 games have been really good for them. Both of them have been under David Moyes, the new manager, obviously. And, you know, you've got that David Moyes. I don't want to go back to a relegation battle, but obviously the lure of Everton and the history that he had with Everton was what drew him in. That, you know, the fact of the new manager, and it was him going back, has given Everton a boost. Can they keep that up, though? Or they purely just had the new manager bounce?
Probably. I'm just looking at the games from the 19th and the 25th, and they beat Spurs 3-2 at home, and then they beat Brighton and Hove Albion, that we've already said are stuttering a bit because they're just struggling to score goals.
Yeah.
Be interested to see the actual sort of possession stats for that game. So they just scraped through Brighton, typical sort of Everton thing. So I'd say they've not played fantastic teams. So I do think with where we are now, because the games, our performances have been building, but we've been letting in goals. And the fact that we've let 1 goal in, I think the defence will carry on being tightened by Rude, yes. So I've gone for Leicester 2, Everton 1.
We haven't been stuffed by anybody for a while.
No.
You know, yes, you know, look, we beat Spurs, but then Ipswich beat Spurs. Everton the week before beat Spurs. We lost to Fulham. We lost to Palace, both of those by 2-0. We lost 2-1 to Villa, and only by 2 to Manchester City. It's always going to be difficult at Goodison. It's an amazing, you know. There's 2 grounds, I think, possibly more. You know, you don't go to the Etihad, for example, and feel intimidated. You go to Newcastle, possibly Liverpool, and definitely Everton at Goodison Park, and that might be something that they've got to look at next season. Is the fact that, you know, look, the new grounds we know don't have the atmosphere that the old grounds do. I really worry. You know, it's the last season. They're going to want to win every game that they can, and they haven't been doing. But I do think, and I know I've said this against Oxford, not against Oxford, against QPR, that, you know, we win one and it'll give us the impetus to move forward. But I have to believe that it is the start of a turnaround. And when we look at the games we've got coming up, I don't think we're going to get many points from those. So if we can win this, first thing it does is drag Everton back into the relegation battle because there'll only be 3 points ahead of us then. If we win 2 on a trot, something we've not managed to do obviously all season, it's suddenly, wow, it'll be like nosebleed time, won't it? I've once again, I've agreed with you and I've gone 2-1 on that. Brad's gone 2-0 to Leicester. So he's back on the predicting Leicester, which probably means Everton are going to stuff us then. But I have gone for 2-1. Now, Tommy has gone 1-1. Everton 1, Leicester 1. LCFC's gone 2-1 to Everton. Oh, whoa. While the Everton fans gone 2-0 to Leicester. I think he's playing mind games there. A must-win game, though. Get that gap down to 3. Yes, indeed. It's time for a clean sheet. 2-0 to Leicester. It could happen. I think the win could happen. The clean sheet, I'm really not so sure about. Apparently, no Calvert-Lewin. I didn't know that. And John's gone 2-2. I'm going to ask you something, Wayne, that I always ask Craig. Would you take a point at this stage?
Yes, I've been speaking to a few customers who are go down regular, and they all said the same thing, that they would take a point because they really respect David Moyes and they have won the last 2. I mean, when we played teams around us, like this season, and when we went down in the Premier, we didn't do well, did atrociously against teams around us, where if we'd have won, we would have put a gap between us and the person in the team in the bottom 3. And so I think this could be, if we do get a win on Saturday, that could be very significant. Like you said, it pulls them back in, but also you've got a back-to-back win. And the fact that I think it will give a lot of players a belief, especially like Bilal and Samare, that, yeah, we can go toe-to-toe and we can really do well in the Premiership. And I think that comes from Rude. I think the belief's grown in the squad. And that's why I did originally go for Desmond, but I do think things are starting to turn. And obviously,
we're idiots, really, aren't we? We're fools to ourselves.
We are, but what can you do?
Exactly. Now, the most interesting game of the weekend, apart from Everton Leicester, is a small matter of 19th playing 20th, Ipswich playing Southampton. I think I know which way I want this to go. Because, again, if it's a draw, that's not the worst result for us.
Yeah.
But then if we can beat Everton, if Southampton can do us a favour and beat Ipswich, Southampton, look, they're not going to, let's be honest with you, the bottom of the table, the bottom of the form table, 1 win, 11 points is the worst in the whole season. I have a feeling that they will beat that, but I can't see past Ipswich, but I don't want Ipswich to win. I want Southampton to win because they are so far behind.
Yeah.
And when you look at that, Ipswich, they lost 4-1. They lost to Man City. They lost to Brighton. They did get a point off Fulham, and they managed to beat Chelsea. They do pull these, games out the hat, don't they? Southampton lost to Newcastle. Lost to Forest, lost to Man United, lost to Brentford, lost to Crystal Palace. Is this only going to go one way, and which way would you like this to go?
Well, the way I'd like it to go, which is the way you'd like it to go, and every other Foxes fan, is Southampton to get a victory. That would be very nice. But they are absolutely woeful, Southampton. And it is just kamikaze play at the back. They play good football. They play the ball forward really well, quicker than we used to be honest. But just when they're passing around at the back, even sometimes it's been like 80 minutes in a game, and they just do 5 minutes of just passing the ball around. But in between that, passing the ball to the opposition, just outside their own box, and they just go and score, and you think, oh, Russell Martin must have thinking, oh, come on, lads. And he lost his job really for the defensive errors, not because they're not a good footballing side. So, but McKenna is, the new manager bounce at Southampton hasn't happened. McKenna's a brilliant manager, but they spent a lot of money, and they've even, some Leicester fans saying Ipswich have signed 4 people, we've not signed anybody, or we've just signed somebody for 1 point something million. But it doesn't matter how many people you sign. You want to get quality in, and I don't think it's going to help Ipswich, to be honest. So I think I'd say 1-1.
Oof, right.
No, in fact, 2-2, Chris, 2-2. That's not, Ipswich are not only going to score 1 goal. 2-2.
Under Southampton under Russell Martin, and this wasn't me saying that, this was a commentator saying this, that when you watch them play, you could see what they were trying to do. Under this new guy, you've no idea. It's almost like, I'll just go out and play, lads. Have a kick around on the park on a Sunday. Actually got worse under the new manager. Careful what we're saying here, because it has under Rude, if we're honest. It's got worse under Rude than it was under Cooper. But at least with Rude, you can see what he's trying to get to. Look, I love the Ipswich story. I have nothing against Ipswich. I like them very much, the underdog story, where they've come from. We remember where they used to be, of course, but that was a long, long time ago. And Southampton, look, you look at some of their they always seem to score a goal, like you say, but they just can't hold on to it. I mean, look when they played us, 2-0 up, and they should have buried us.
Those sort of results really do kick you, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, I the way I described this to my mate the other day when we're talking about football, I described Southampton as the James Bond of the Premier League, because with James Bond, you think he's about to die, and then the villain goes and does something stupid and lets him off. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if they just went out and said, "Aha, we've caught you, Bond," boom, you're dead. That'd be it. But no, I'm just going to explain to you all my master plan. I'm just going to leave you in this room. I'm going to lock the door, but there's a window there. And that's what I feel it's like with Southampton. They're almost there, but the other people just keep letting them off. It's gone 0-1 to Southampton as Brad. I would like it to be a draw. I'd like Southampton to win, I should say, more. Do you know what? I never was going to laugh at me for saying this yet again. I am going to go for a 2-1, but which way? That's the question. If this was at Southampton, I'd have more faith in it. So I'm going to have to say I'm going to go 2-1 to Ipswich.
Plus, Chris, I think that Ipswich McKenna will know that they've got to win this. They've got to win. Yes.
I hope I'm wrong, and I do hope Southampton do us a favour. I just can't see it. But look, it's a weird season this season, isn't it? So let's have a look what people have been saying. John has gone Ipswich 3, Southampton 2. LCFC's gone 2-0 to Ipswich. Agent Antelotte, Southampton defence is the worst I've seen. Ipswich 3, and then he went next one, Southampton 2. No manager bounce. No, there wasn't. There hasn't been that bounce. Enrico is in. Hello, mate. How you doing? One worried Evertonians without DCL. We are no threat up front. Beto is not a Prem player. I thought everybody was in love with Beto. I don't know. I could be wrong. But there we go. I'd love to be wrong with that one. But we shall wait and see.
We need Samare to do a job on Decore, because he's a great player, isn't he, Decore?
Yes, indeed. So that's another 3 o'clock kickoff. As is Newcastle, who host Fulham. This is the last of the 3 o'clocks here. Newcastle, well, as you can see there, if I just get it larger on my screen, Newcastle in the last game it beat Southampton 3-1. Thank you, Newcastle. They did lose to Bournemouth at home 4-1, and that was a hell of a surprise. But they put 3 past Wolves, 2 past Tottenham, but then, who doesn't put 2 past Tottenham? And 2 past Man United as well. Fulham, meanwhile, lost to Man United 0-1. That was a tight game, though. Then we know they beat us 2-0. They beat West Ham 2-1. They drew 2-2 with Ipswich. And they drew 2-2 with Bournemouth as well. Form table-wise, Fulham and Newcastle, based on the last 5. Newcastle are in second, having won 4 of their last 5. They just lost the 1. And Newcastle are not. Newcastle are in second. Sorry. Fulham are in 13th, having won just 1 of their last 5. Newcastle must be sending us a check or something, because they weren't having a good season till they beat us.
No, they weren't. But the son-in-law and grandson who support them, that it was just they just had a weird start, really. But now they are back to full strength. They've got the mojo back. All the the midfield is incredibly strong, isn't it?
Almiron's just left, though. He's gone off to America.
Has he? When he was rumoured that he might be cut, I would love Almiron, because he's 100%. He's so tenacious. He's good on the ball and can shoot. That is a shame. But Newcastle, I just think they're where they're supposed to be. I think they will get in the Champions League. And Bournemouth was just an anomaly. Bournemouth are just incredible. And Fulham, you see Silva, the manager of Fulham, he's looked very frustrated the last few weeks, because I think they've got some brilliant players. They're just up and down. They're not consistent enough, basically.
Great start to the season. And when they played us in that second game, I was like, wow. I really was impressed with them. But their form has fallen away a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I'd say 3-1 to Newcastle.
Oof. Well, you want the good news or the bad news?
Can I just have good news, please, Chris?
No good news. Sorry. There is only bad news. You've agreed with Brad, because he's gone 3-1 as well.
No, please. Please.
Which will explain my prediction in a second, because I can't agree with you again. But I've actually gone Newcastle United 3, Fulham 0. So I think Newcastle are just on fire at the moment. So I've gone 3-0 to the Magpies. Let's see what people in the chat are saying. Newcastle 2, Fulham 1. LCFC and John and Agent has gone 1-2 the way around to Newcastle. So to Fulham. So he likes to go against everybody.
He walks his own road, doesn't he?
He does. That's a very good saying. Yes, he does. He does. And if one day he's not here because he's won the polls, I'll be very, very jealous. Next up, it is the late night Sky game on the Saturday, 5:30 kickoff. Wolves hosting Villa for Molineux. Like I said, it's on Sky. Let's have a look what the teams have been up to. Wolves lost to Arsenal. It wasn't the easiest game for Arsenal, though. Chelsea struggled at the start, won 3-1 in the end. Newcastle beat them. Forest beat them. Wolves drew with Tottenham. Villa drew with West Ham. They drew with Arsenal. They beat Everton. They beat us, of course. and they beat Brighton and Hove 3-2 in a 5-goal thriller. Wolves have been. I actually predicted, and I don't know where it came from, but I just had a feeling at the start of the season I predicted Wolves to go down. I did have them in 20th though, so I obviously hadn't taken into account Southampton, but I did have them going down as well. Potentially, this should not be where they are. And the reason that I put them where they are is because of Gary O'Neill. I don't rate him, if you remember, I don't rate him. And I know if Paddy's looking in from Bournemouth, I'm sorry. I just don't rate him as a manager. That said, do you think they rely too much on Cunha?
Yes, I think they've got some really good players. It's a strange thing, isn't it? These sort of it's like when we came back against Southampton. It's like when we played Palace, and really we were robbed with the offside for their first goal, and then that's when Cody came on, didn't he? Gave the penalty away. And these games just swing on these pivotal moments. But Wolves, I mean, when the manager took over, I thought, here they go, climbing up the table, and then they've lost the last 4. So, which, being a Leicester supporter, was quite disappointing, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Well, Brad has gone for a 2-1 to Villa. He's gone 1-2. What are you going for yourself?
3-1 Villa. They're unbeaten in the last sort of 4 or 5, aren't they? Winning and drawing. They're coping with Europe well. They'll be too strong for Wolves, and I'm saying 3-1 to Villa.
Right. Now, I've taken into account Europe because they played in Europe this week, didn't they? In the Champions League. And well done, Bruges, nearly causing an upset.
Yeah.
I've gone for Desmond here. I've gone 2-2. A, because it's away for Villa, and B, it's because it is following on from Europe, and they do seem to struggle. I had written down another score, but I've had to use my Tipex. Didn't you invent Tipex? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Chris, you need a tumbleweed recording or something.
Come on, that's not bad.
Hey, it's a cracker. It's a cracker.
And can I just say, if you're enjoying the show, we are going to we have just done a great show, but this is the highlight of the show. 2 for 1.
Yeah.
2 for 1 there. That's an old one, but I do like to bring it out every now and again.
You know, when you said you bring the Tipex out, Chris, I thought I meant to ask you, have you got an old Imperial typewriter there that you sort of do?
Oh, God, I'm old enough to remember them. Right. Well, I've gone for 2-2, like I say, simply because of the European effect. Right, here we go. Then let's have a look what people have gone for in the chat. John's gone for 2-1 to Wolves. Whoa, okay. Agent has agreed with me. 2-2. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. One of us is stupid. Scott is in. Hi, Scott. How are you doing? LCFC has gone 2-0 to Villa. Scott's just catching up with a few of the scores in the chat. He's gone Forest for a win, Liverpool. He's gone 2-2 with Ipswich and Southampton and 3-0 for Newcastle. Scott, you're going to have to get in the prediction league for next season, along with the rest of us. Love to have you in. He's still catching up. He'll no doubt get to Wolves in a minute. That's it for the Saturday games. So we then go on to the Sunday. And the first of the Sunday games, which is Brentford against Spurs from the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's a 2:00 kickoff. It's on Sky. It's a London derby. He's gone 3-0 to Villa, or Vile as he's called him. I'm presuming that is not Scott. That is not a spelling mistake. I think that is what you think of Villa. Brentford. Let me just. I can't. Should have gone to Specsavers. There we go. Brentford beat Palace 2-1. Liverpool beat them 2-0. Drew with Man City 2-2, which was a good result. But 5 against Southampton in their first away win. And they drew 1-1 with Arsenal. Look, we know they're fantastic at home.
Is that 3-1, I think, Arsenal, Chris? Is that 3?
Sorry, it is 3-1. Sorry, I told you. Should have gone to Specsavers. You don't need those glasses. Can I borrow yours, please? Spurs, meanwhile, obviously lost to Leicester, lost to Everton. No, they beat Everton. I'm going to go onto this screen because this screen is
3-2. They lost 3. Everton beat them 3-2, Chris.
Yeah, they did indeed. Where are we? Oh, I've completely gone. There we go. Yeah, Everton beat them 3-2. Spurs beat them. Arsenal beat them 2-1. My teeth in. Newcastle beat them, and Wolves drew with them. Brentford, great form at home. Tottenham, no form whatsoever at the moment. On their current form, Brentford are in 10th. Spurs are in 18th. Spurs are actually below us in the form table. And look, you would never go into this game. And Brentford have got such a brilliant home form this season that you wouldn't go into this game. I can't think of a season where I would have gone into this game saying it's a home banker. And I honestly think it is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Spurs are, you look at that. I mean, 1 or 2 of those are quite close, really. But all those close games, it's like Leicester, that there's no doubt losing to us on Saturday, that would have really hurt them, especially being 1-0 up. Because it's always better to come back from behind than it is to sort of lose it at the end, isn't it? It's like to draw 2-2 when you get equalised is a brilliant feeling. And I just think I can maybe 1 or 2 weeks and they'll have to sack the manager. I can't see them carrying on, really.
He's still there?
Sorry?
Are you surprised he's still there?
Yeah, but I do think it does. The board probably like him as a person because he seems really likeable as a guy. And Thomas Frank, Brentford they're a great Premier side. It's like when we played them when we went down from the Premiership, we were 2-0 up and then they came back to 2 each. I think Brentford are a good side, but I think they're just a good average Premier side. And it's whether Thomas Frank, what he can do with a side that, we struggled. How do you break it? How do you get higher in the league? Brighton thought they were going to be going for Europe this season, and even they're struggling. So I think Brentford are a good mid-table side, but they've got quality, and I think they'll beat. What did I write down? Not double figures for Brentford. Brentford 3, Spurs 1.
Oh, right. Well, this is quite close because you nearly agreed with Brad at 3-0.
This is getting dangerous.
It is. You are in dangerous territory here, which is why I didn't go 3-0. I thought about 3-2, but I've actually written down 3-1 to Brentford. And I think, and we know it's not Angie's fault. I think it was stupid that he came out and said what he said about winning something in his second. He's putting himself up there to be shot down, isn't he, really? Mm-hmm. He's putting himself up at the end of the shooting alley. But, yeah, it's... Look, they want Levy out. Of course they do. But look how long it took Newcastle to get... what's he called out? The name misses me at the moment. Mike Ashley. Yeah. The owners are very, very hard to get out, and he's not going anywhere, unfortunately, Daniel Levy, I don't think. So if it doesn't get round, yes, unfortunately, I think Ange will go. I think Ange will walk into another job. I think it just proves, though, as we know, being successful in Scotland doesn't mean that you're going to be successful in England.
No, and it's interesting, really. A lot of Leicester, not a lot of Leicester fans, some Leicester fans have been really very unhappy about the board signings, the success rate of the signings. But, you know, historically, you might get 30-40% success rate on all your signings, and the more money you spend, better. But Spurs have spent a lot of money, and it's never amounted to anything. And what's interesting is with Spurs is, who'd have thought if Spurs lose the next match that they could actually be dragged down into the relegation battle, and they might actually be a team that we end up being above and surviving. It is really crazy.
It could happen. It could happen. Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Scott. Please do smash that likes button. Scott has gone. Scott said for his vial, spelt meticulously. I'm quite pleased that I was able to say that word. Spurs 2, Brentford 0, says Scott. Agent has gone 4-1 to Brentford. Yeah, please do, like Scott says there, smash the likes and subscribe. John said it was a hot day, Wayne. That's why we drew 2-2. It was. Trying to forget that. It would take billions to get Daniel Levy out. Yes, indeed it would. And LCFC there says Brentford 3, Spurs 1, which is basically what you and me went as well. Right. Not on... I did giggle when I saw that this was a Sunday game, but it wasn't on TV. I was at the family get together. My brother-in-law is a huge Manchester United fan, and so are his two sons. And we were watching them play Brighton. And he's from Hong Kong, my brother-in-law, and it wasn't on the telly. So he was trying to load up on this smart TV a link to be able to watch the game, because obviously they can watch it all in Hong Kong. I don't know what he did, but we sat there, and suddenly all these naked women came up on the stream. We all went, it was very, very strange. So I never put a thing in the family chat saying, just to let everybody know, Man United aren't on the telly again this week. It does give us a chance, if Mannix is good, for us all to see some boobs again. There we go. But they are hosting Palace. They beat Fulham last week 1-0. I think that was more through luck than anything else. They lost to Brighton. They beat Southampton. No disrespect, Southampton. That's not hard this season. They drew with Liverpool. It's funny, if Man United turned up for the other games like they turned up for that one, they may be doing better. Newcastle 2, Man United 0. Palace lost to Brentford, beat West Ham. Obviously, we know they beat us. They drew with Chelsea, and they again beat Southampton. Man United, again, there's a lot going off the pitch that could be, affecting it. The fact that he'd sooner pick a 63-year-old coach over Marcus Rashford. And I was watching an interview with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Oh, what a dickhead he is! I mean, he's penny pinching here and there. He's sacking people, and he's sacked Mavis, the tea lady, because it saves 15,000 a year or whatever. It's just absolutely ridiculous, because they seem to think that going out and buying these big players is always going to solve the problem. They think that changing the manager is always going to solve the problem. It isn't for Man United. Man United cannot accept that they are not the Man United that was under Alex Ferguson. When you look at the best success that Alex Ferguson had, it was when he had Beckham and Scholes and all the young players coming through. Yeah,
and I think that's a difficult thing, really. You've got the leaks in the roof. Yeah. You've got the way they've treated some of the staff, which, when you look at the salaries that some people on, that is such a minuscule. It's a 0.00 something percent. That's what you're talking about. I think that kind of resonates badly through the club. So there's got to be some players observing that and thinking this is just not right. And yeah, Crystal Palace, I think they're on really good form. They just lost against Brentford. Man United, like you said, apart from getting up for that Liverpool game, struggling really. And Almiron, not Almiron, what's his name? What's the new manager's name? It's gone a blank.
Amarin?
Amarin, that's right, Amarin. I mean, will he get the chance? Because Man United sort of try a new manager, sign it. I think Craig mentioned that they signed that guy for 90 million. Was it not Martial? Anthony. And basically he's gone on a loan spell, so that's what you've got to look at. All the Spurs and all these different clubs have spent a lot of money on players, and it's just had no net result. No. And Man United are in a mess. I hope they'll give the manager a chance, because you've got Enzo went into Chelsea, sorted all the players' contracts out and the mess there. I think Rude's doing it in Leicester. I think he's developing a hungry group of players that know they need to work hard in training and bring everything to the pitch. And I think we've been seeing that develop. And I think the new manager would do that if he's given the chance. And I think managers are hopefully getting more of a balance from the player power that's kind of has existed really. Yeah, so I think Man United are a mess. I think Palace will win 3-1.
Oof, right, okay. Scott says there, Radcliffe and Mike Ashley must be eating at the same restaurant. I want to ask you this. If King Power were to sell, who would you sooner have in charge of our club? So Jim Ratcliffe or Daniel Levy?
None.
No, you have to pick. No, that's not an option. Now you got to pick one or the other.
I'd say Daniel Levy, maybe.
Yeah, I would as well. I would.
Yeah, because in general they've been trying to get there, but they're just not quite happening. Whereas Man United, it's a car crash. It's a mess. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, funnily enough, you've gone 3-1 to Palace. Is that right? Yeah.
Brad's gone 2-1 to Man United. Put that clock on me again. I'm going to have to make a decision. Both of these teams are close to us. Palace, I mean, they're on 27. They're actually close. They're 10 points ahead. So they've actually jumped out of the relegation bit. I'm actually going to go for another draw.
Right.
I'm going to go 1-1. Because I can't see either team. If it was at Palace, I might edge towards Palace, might edge towards the Eagles. But because it is at Old Trafford, the as I like to call it, the Welsh Stadium, it's full of leaks.
Ding,
ding, ka-ching. So I'm going to go 1-1 for that one. Let's see what people have been saying in the chat. LCFC has agreed with me. He has gone 1-1 as well. John has gone 3-1 to Man United. Geordie's in. Hello, Geordie. How are you doing? Agent's gone 2-1. He's agreed with the outcome with you. Scott agrees. He's gone with us as well, Daniel Levy. What's that say about Man United that we'd sooner have Daniel Levy than their owners? Manchester United 2. Crystal Palace 3, said Scott. Oh, Mashiri. No, thank you very much. You can keep him. Well, you've not got him now, but you know what I mean. 4-1, Geordie's gone. He's gone for a big win for Palace. And then next up, we've got Arsenal Man City, which, believe it or not, is the Super Sunday game, because I don't think you see enough of these two teams on TV, do you?
No, you don't.
I think we should see a lot more of them, if I'm honest with you. Right.
I like to record it and sort of watch it from midnight onwards. Can't get enough of it, Chris, to be honest.
Exactly. And if you're lucky enough to own, have a Sky subscription, you probably could do that anyway because they were showing it 3 times. Anyway, Arsenal hosting Manchester City. Arsenal in second. Man City getting back to some sort of form. Coming up into fourth. Have they left it too late, or are they going to come up on the outside? It was 2-2 earlier in the season. Arsenal, as we said earlier, just scraped past Wolves last time out. They drew with Villa. They beat Tottenham, who doesn't. Only drew with Brighton, but they did beat Brentford 3-1. And that was quite a surprise because Brentford were at home. Man City beat Chelsea 3-1. Stuffed Ipswich, thank you very much, City, 6-0. Brentford 2, Manchester City 2. They beat West Ham 4-1, and of course they beat us 2-0. 2 questions for you here, Wayne. One, are Arsenal blowing it again? And 2, have Manchester City left it too late to come up on the outside?
Oh, dear. I don't think... I mean, they're struggling in Europe, aren't they, as well, Man City? So I'd say... I think it is the end of an era. They signed those 2 players and that really rapid fullback. Pep's a brilliant manager. Yeah, but when they beat us, it was a close game, really. I mean, we probably could have got a draw in that game. Haaland, will he get back on the train? He's got a couple of goals lately. His goal last week actually was a really clever finish. Arsenal, yeah, they're right up there though. They're still picking up loads of points. They've had a few close games. They're not as dominant as Liverpool, but they are there or thereabouts. So I think losing Saka will be the difference though. I can't see them catching Liverpool just because Saka's out. Yeah. And I think he'll be out for a long time. So I would say Arsenal 2, Man City 1.
Ooh, okay. So you've gone for an Arsenal win. Interestingly, I haven't. I can see where you're coming from, definitely. I think Saka's still out, I think, isn't he, for Arsenal?
Yeah.
And I don't, like I say, what is it with Arsenal? Manchester City have won it. The one time that when Manchester City are blowing it, Arsenal blow it as well. That is just such we say that Spurs are Spursy. Well, Arsenal are Arsenal-y, if that is a thing, And Man City are coming back. They have struggled in Europe, but the sign of a good team is when you're struggling. And let's be honest with you, it would have been very easy, having gone 1-0 down against Bruges, to capitulate. But they didn't. They came back and won it. So they are still alive. And that's the difference between, like you say, between somebody being champions and somebody not being champions. And I think we've written Manchester City off in the past, and they've gone through and had a bad start and come back and won it. That said, and I'm doing this because Brad's not in the show this week, so I'm going for my second Desmond. I'm going for a 2-2. And Brad has made it a full house because he's gone for a Manchester City win, Arsenal 0, Manchester City 2.
Yeah, they always come good in the second half seasons, don't they, Chris? Man City.
Yeah.
And I think against Chelsea, Chelsea could have gone 2-0 up and Palmer missed a chance, and then Man City went on to beat them. So Chelsea were well in the game, but Man City found a way, as you said, to win.
Yeah. John's gone 2-1 Man City. LCFC forever. So Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. I feel it'll be a hyped up game and be very boring. See what I think will happen. I think Arsenal will go 2-0 up and then not be able to hold on to it. Could Arsenal do a Spurs and finish third in a 2-horse race? Quite possibly, Scott. But he's gone 3-1 to Manchester City. And then, I said, that's the TV match Sunday evening. We've then got a Monday match, which is Chelsea hosting West Ham. So yet another London derby. Let's have a look. So Chelsea lost to Manchester City. And I think that probably was down to the fact that this is still Enzo's first season there.
Yeah.
I think they'll come stronger next season. They beat Wolves though. They drew with Bournemouth. Bournemouth are having a fantastic season. They could only draw with Crystal Palace, and of course they lost to Ipswich. Well done to Ipswich there. West Ham drew with Arsenal. No, they didn't. That's a lie. They drew with Villa. They lost to Palace. They beat Fulham. They lost to Manchester City. And, of course, they were stuffed 5-0 by Liverpool. Those last two were 4-1 to Man City, and the 5-0 to Liverpool was obviously what we call the PP period, pre-Potter. Wasn't a surprise he went back to West Ham because I think they are ambitious. And, look, if he's going to either be living in Brighton or London. So a London club was obviously a good choice for him. And even if he lives in Brighton, so many people live in Brighton but commute to London for work. It'd be easy for him to do that. So I kind of get the fact that he's gone to West Ham, but it does make me want West Ham to lose all the time. But Chelsea 2, West Ham 0, says Brad.
Right, Chelsea 2. Yeah, I think Chelsea's struggling really. I mean,
well, Chelsea are only 14th in the form table based on the last match.
Yeah, it's like against Man City, the last season my brother said he didn't rate Enzo as in like in-game management, and he thought of a couple of managers in the Championship out-tacticked Enzo. And it does seem that one thing I like about Ruud is Ruud changes tactics during a game, like going to back 3, back 5, to keep hold on to the win. Enzo, I think he's from the Pep school, but I think he's a bit too rigid, to be honest. And I think Chelsea will get a 1-1 with West Ham. I don't think Graham Potter. I don't think he'll. I'd be surprised if he can get them up in the top 6. Graham Potter, West Ham, to be honest.
Yes,
I know they wanted to move on from David Moyes, but my goodness me, it's a bit like Claudio Ranieri when won the Premiership, and I mean he won a European Cup for them. And when's the last time they won anything, West Ham? So yeah, I think it's a 1-1 Chelsea, because I think Chelsea will finish maybe 6th or 7th this season.
I've just had I'll tell you, I've just had a message off Brad. I'll tell you what that is in a second. So I agree with you again. This is very, very scary. I've gone 1-1. Neither of us agree with Brad though, so that's something, I guess, isn't it? I've gone 1-1. I think West Ham will improve under Potter. Whether he needs to bring his own players in, he probably does, as all new managers do. But they were always better than I think they were under Floppy Loppy. And I think he will do. He'll do around. Chelsea are just so up and down. Look, I say they've drawn 2 of the last 5. I just think, like I say, I agree with you. I've gone for 1-1 as well. John's gone Chelsea 2, West Ham 1. Could we see the fall off from Chelsea's Enzo had a huge blip last? That's a very interesting point, Scott. Of course, he did, didn't he, with Leicester? 16 points we lost. That is a very good point. Chelsea 1, West Ham 2, though he's gone. Agent has gone 4-1 to Chelsea. It's got to Europa Conference League a few seasons back. West Ham won under their Europa Conference League a few seasons back. West Ham won under their current manager. No, they won that under Moyes, didn't they?
Yeah.
West Ham, yeah. It was at Everton. Not sure what you're getting at there, Scott. Right, out of interest here, Wayne, you and me agree on the Forest. These are just the actual scores. Forest, Brighton, we both went 2-1. We agree on the Everton Leicester. We both went 1-2. Do we agree on anything? Yeah, we agree on Brentford Tottenham 3-1. and we agree on Chelsea West Ham, and that is 1-1 as well.
See, I'm trying to get 8 points, Chris, this week. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I'd have believed that if you hadn't gone first. So you've agreed. You've agreed with Brad on Newcastle Fulham. That's the only one you've agreed with him on, so you're all right. You're all right.
Well, I need to nip that in the bud straight away, don't I?
I've just said scary because I've was just thinking then we have got one more game, and this won't really mean an awful lot because it doesn't include this weekend's game. But the game that was cancelled against Everton is now on TNT on Wednesday night. Everton hosting Liverpool, the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park, if it goes off without any hitch. And I was just thinking because Brad hadn't actually put that on his list of results. So, but he literally, just as I was talking then, I was thinking, oh, Brad hasn't put that one down. And he literally at that point messaged me, which is do. And I'm just going to make sure that I've read this right.
I was going to say, what the hell has Brad put?
I have got it wrong, actually, because he's one of those where he's got the score the wrong way round to the order that the teams are in. So he went 3-0, but of course that would have made it 3-0 to Everton. But he actually did wrote it out. He's gone 3-0 to Liverpool. What do you think? I don't think this is going to be easy for Liverpool.
It's a local derby, isn't it? Really difficult because Everton will be up for that. Dave Moyes will be in. He'll be on overdrive.
Do you think this will help in this? Do you think at the back of his mind and at the back of the player's mind, playing us on Saturday, thinking he's got that game on Wednesday, or does he not? Does he just do the old saying, one game at a time?
Yeah, I think he's got to think of that game because that game is very important to the Everton fans. And some might say they'd rather draw or lose against us than beat Liverpool, most probably. So, and what's interesting as well, Everton, I mean, if we could beat Everton on Saturday and Liverpool do manage to beat Everton, then there's another team that could well be dragged back towards us. So,
because they'll only be if that happens, there'll only be 3 points above us and no game in hand.
Very interesting. Yeah, I've got Liverpool for a win, but I've put down 3-2.
Oof, right. Countdown clock time. Liverpool will not hold any sentiment. They won't be thinking, it's their last derby. But Everton always manage to pull something out in the derbies, don't they? I agree. Scott's gone there with what I was thinking too. I was thinking either a 1-1 or a 2-1 to Liverpool. And I'm going to go 1-1 because of the meaning of the game.
Yeah.
And this will mean so much to all the players. Well, all the fans. There might be some players there that don't give a damn about it, but I think it will mean so much to the fans that Everton will really be going out to try and get something. And I think if they come away with a draw, they will have said, well, last derby game, I should say, at Goodison, it was a draw. It was a good game.
And the atmosphere will be electric, won't it?
Oh, won't it just? Well, I might even have to actually watch that game. It could be a very, very interesting outcome. But yeah, I'm going to stick with 1-1. So, interesting. We'll see how we get on with those results. Just to say to everybody, if you do prefer to listen rather than watch, all our shows, apart from the watch-alongs, do go up on podcast. Google apparently do a podcast. I don't know how Google Podcasts work because it just shows this. So I don't know how different it is. But we're also on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, your favorite or your preferred podcast platform, or acast.com, which is our hosting site. And all our shows, like I say, apart from the watch long, do go up on the podcast. We try something new on Saturday. It could be interesting for the watch along. I have been approached by a company, so you might see a few different things on Saturday. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to wait and see if that takes off. But mate, thank you so very much as always for this.
No worries, mate. I enjoyed it. It's really, it makes it interesting, doesn't it?
It does. As you know, you managed to hold on to your blood for a few more weeks.
Yes, yeah, a few more weeks. Yeah, it's interesting what other people say in the chat, though, isn't it? You know what they sort of think the scores will be. Yeah, good.
Thing is, and look, it is a difficult season to predict what's going on. You know, we've seen that looking at the predictions and how wrong we all are with some of them. But there's been some weird results, but this is just it with football. Football is so unpredictable, and I think that's why we love it.
Yeah, and you look at the Premier, because normally in seasons past you get, I don't know, your Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, sort of Chelsea, like running away. There's big points gaps. But when you look down the Premier, apart from Liverpool, and maybe a lot of teams are really quite close, and a lot of teams can beat each other, which then makes the prediction an absolute nightmare.
Yes. Yeah. Just bringing these up, I forgot I didn't do them. Agent has gone Everton 2, Liverpool 0. Surprise. Scott has gone 1-1. He's agreed with me. There'll be a statue of Moyes outside the new stadium due to the 1-1 result alone. I thought Everton, no, as I'm just looking at it here, where are we? I'm just checking. Yeah, Wednesday the 12th of February. That's it. That's what I said. I did say Wednesday, didn't I?
It's Wednesday the 12th of February.
Yes. But it is the next game that's coming up. Is it not?
I think that might be... Just a minute.
Is there an international break in there?
Yeah, I think there is, Chris. Yeah,
that's
so the last Premier game is Monday the 3rd of Feb, and then I think there's an international break, and then restart from the Wednesday.
Yeah. Midweek feature that has been rearranged so filtered into this week's. Yeah, I've included it in here because we're not obviously. Then there won't be this show next week because there's no weekend games there, so that's why I've included the game in this week. But it is like I said, the next game after this weekend's. Thank you very much. Look, if you're new or even if you're not new and you've not done it yet, please subscribe, smash the likes. Both of those are free to do, and it really does help the channel. We're going to see how old Wayne is now. I'm going to test him on something because I'm going to say and see how clever you are here, Wayne, that it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night, guys.
Take care.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.